We're rolling? Okay. Awesome. Hello, everybody. My name is Matt, and this is
Katie.
We are here to talk about the two workouts that you're going to be going through for the 2026 Runners Camp that you're going to be alternating according to the schedule that Carly King, your coach, has been giving you. So what we're going to do is we'll start out with the first workout, go through the exercises, and then we'll go through the second. So when you get a chance, you can kind of gather some equipment, but hopefully a lot of the equipment that you need you can find in a gym, and you can also just find some stuff maybe around the house. If you're not going to a gym, you can kind of get warmed up at home if you don't have access to a gym as well.
All right, so for the first exercise on the docket, we have banded walks. So for this one, you can use a resistance band. As you can see here, we have a couple different colors, and these are going to tell you about how intense of a resistance is going to give you. So yellow is going to be that first level, and it works all the way up to our black resistant bands, which are going to have the highest intensity level. So anytime that we're using a resistance band, for example, for this one, we're going to place it a bit over our ankles. We want to give our joints plenty of space to work, so you want to think about palms distance above any of your joints here. So when we're doing these banded walks, we want to hold tension on those bands throughout the movement. We want to make sure that we're not letting those knees buckle in as we go through these banded walks. So we have some lateral banded walks, which means we're moving out to the side. Anytime that we're coming into these banded walks, we want to make sure that we're not moving our feet wider than about shoulder distance apart. We're keeping resistance on those bands, gentle bend throughout the knees as we come through these banded walks. From those lateral walks, you can also do forward walks. So once again, that's stepping those feet forward, keeping resistance on the band, keeping that gentle bend in the knees. We're holding our chest proud here. And you'll walk those, we'll walk forward and backward with these banded walks. And that's going to wrap up that first exercise.
All right, next we've got a glute bridge. And for this, we can keep the bands on, and what we can do is just sort of move them up so that they're right above the knees, maybe a few inches. You can kind of play with where you are putting these bands as well. And once again, if you have a different level of resistance for the bands, play with what feels good. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a seat here. You're going to lay all the way down, and from here you're going to walk your heels in so they're kind of right in front of your knees, and then from here push your heels down, bridge up, squeeze those glutes really hard. Okay, and you're just going to hold this position. Okay, so this is a glute bridge. We're working on making sure that our glutes are contracted, that our belly button is pulled into the spine, hands are down flat on the ground, and you've got a little bit of distance between your knees so that that resistance band is kind of working. So you can feel this on the backside, hamstrings, lower back, core as well. Now, if you don't have a band, what you can do is just do this exercise and just not use a band. This is very effective just by itself, just holding this position. You'll feel it in the backside, feel it in the glutes, and get that core nice and engaged. And that's the glute bridge.
All right, the next exercise we're going to work up into, we can lose the resistance band for this one.
Yay!
We're going to come into some single leg balancing kind of acts here. So there's going to be two options here. You can either use our balance discs, or you can do it without the discs here. Either way, we're going to be working our proprioception. We're going to be working on that ankle stability. So anytime that we're coming into a single leg movement, we want to make sure that we're not locking out that knee. We're going to keep a gentle bend through that knee, and we're going to take a lift of our working leg here. We can play around with this movement a little bit. You can choose to close your eyes. You can choose to move your arms around, add some dynamic movement to this, just challenging our balance. You can also play around with the lever of your leg a little bit here. And this is a kind of a fun one to kind of build up on as you work on that ankle stability. That's going to wrap up that single leg balance. I'm going to send it over to Matt for our plank and shoulder taps.
Okay, plank shoulder taps here. We're going to get into a good, strong plank position. So we're going to start out on our knees here. So this is the first way to do this exercise. Knees down, your hands are right underneath your shoulders, And then we got a good, strong core foundation. Our belly button is sucked up into our spine. We're pushing through the floor with our hands and retracting the shoulder blades. And then from here, I'm just going to maintain balance. I'm going to tap my right hand to the left shoulder and vice versa and back and forth, returning hand right underneath the shoulder. Okay? Just a quick way to engage the core, get some asymmetric forces going on through the spine and hips. And then from here, if that is something that is an easy motion for you, or if you want to progress to the next part, we're just going to put our feet down and do the same thing. Okay? And then from here, what we want to avoid is really swaying from side to side, or hips way up high in the sky. Core nice and tight, glutes engaged, nice flat back and forth. Okay? And then you can also make this a little bit easier by just kind of getting a wider base with your feet. Shoulder taps.
All right, and the last exercise here in this hips and core series, we're gonna head on down to a 4-point position for some bird dogs. So we're coming down to this 4-point position. We're gonna stack those hands underneath our shoulders. Knees are gonna stack underneath our hips. We're directing our line of vision to look right at our fingertips here. Before we begin this movement, we wanna make sure that we're bracing through our core. So you wanna think about pulling that spine up towards our belly button, or you can think about a towel wrapping underneath our core and pulling us up towards the ceiling here. So for these bird dogs, one option here is to begin with just lifting that left arm out in front of you, pointing through the fingertips, sending those arms long, sweeping down and alternating between those arms to begin with. Once we flow through those arms, we'll stabilize ourselves through those hands once again and extend through our legs. So we'll extend through those left legs, sending them long. The biggest thing to kind of keep in mind here is we're keeping our torso nice and stable. So we're keeping our back nice and stable. So if somebody came and set your favorite drink on top of your back, you wouldn't spill a single drop. So you just alternate between those legs, alternate between those arms. And if you want to advance through this bird dog, you can extend opposite arm, opposite leg, sending those toes and fingertips towards opposite sides of the room and lengthening through our fingertips and toes. If you want a little bit more, you can hold at that top point here. Holding at this top point will really challenge that stability, work those stabilizing muscles, and work your core. If you want even a little bit more, you can curl your toes in towards your center as you hold at that top point. And that's going to be the bird dogs.
All right. And that's going to be the first round of your first workout. That's going to be hips and core focused. When you're doing this exercise and this workout, make sure that you're just paying attention to the sets and reps that have been set forth for you for the workout. And we're going to continue on to the other workout for Runners Camp 2026, which is a total body strength exercise. And we're going to start out with some squats, some good old lower body functional movements here, okay? So for a squat, we're going to start out with our feet kind of right underneath our shoulders, gently pointed out. From here, we are going to focus on 3 cues. The first being keep your chest up, your knees driving out over your little toes, and then your weight on your heels, okay? So send your hips backwards, chest up, hands out in front of you. Get as much range of motion as you can here. Nice and easy on the way up. Push the earth down, drive weight through the heels, wiggle your toes, and stand all the way up. Okay? If you can do that, not too bad. You can also grab a weight. You can grab a dumbbell, kettlebell, whatever you have for some external weight to add a little bit of resistance there for you.
Into are going to be some single leg RDLs here. So this is a great one to add some weight into if you'd like to. So you can grab some weights if you'd like. Biggest thing for this one is, once again, since we're coming over to a single leg exercise, we're going to take a little bend through those knees. We're going to ground ourselves into the ground by our big toes, our little toes pressing into the ground. And we'll take a little lift through that back leg. From here, we want to think about hinging at the hips, sending those glutes to the back of the room as we let that weight travel down the trajectory of our leg. On our way back up, as we press that back's going to stay nice and flat here. This is, once again, a great one to bring that weight into. You might notice it's a little bit trickier to stabilize on one leg compared to the other. Just notice it, acknowledge it, and build it into your practice. I'm going to throw it over to Matt for calf raises.
All right, calf raises. So this one you can do a couple different ways. You can do this from the floor. You don't need any weight. All you're going to be doing is just standing on your tiptoes. Weight kind of right underneath your shoulders. Little soft bend in the knees. Send those toes down. Heels come off the ground. And just hold at the top. Okay? And then just gently relax. Tap your heels down and press once again. Now, if you want to make that a little more challenging, you can find a step. Or really anything that's going to get you up on your toes with your heels off the end. And then from here, maybe if you have something to hold on to, you can really stretch out that calf muscle, stretch out that gastroc, and then stand up on your toes and grab some weights like Katie's doing here. And that's the calf raise.
All right, the next exercise we're headed into are going to be some banded rows or some bent over rows. So you have a couple options for adding resistance into this one. I personally like using weights for this one. When we're coming into our bent over row, we're once again going to find that athletic stance. Feet are going to stack about underneath our hips. Take a gentle bend in those knees, little hinge through the hips as we draw our chest down towards the mat. From here, you can begin with those single arm rows by skating that elbow past our ribs, drawing that weight in towards our center. Or you can draw both weights in at the same time coming into that double row. As we're doing this, we want to make sure that as we're bringing those weights up towards our center, we're squeezing through our shoulder blades. You can think about trying to squeeze a pencil in between your shoulder blades. And like I said, there's a couple options for resistance here. So if weights aren't your forte, you can also grab a band to add in some resistance to this movement. So if you choose to use a resistance band for this one, you'll once again find that bent over row position. Feet are going to stack about underneath hips. And you'll resume that position of skating those elbows past your ribs, squeezing through the shoulder blades. And that's the row.
All right, next up we've got the good old-fashioned push-up. So for a push-up, you've got a couple different ways to do that. Number one, go ahead and have a seat, knees down, and then go ahead and stack your shoulders on top of your hands, knees down here. You can go a little wider if you need to. From here, we're going to send our elbows backwards, get our chest close to the ground if not touching, belly nice and tight, and we want to raise our chest and lower back at the same time by just pushing through the floor. Nice and easy on the way down. If you want to count to yourself, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, and on the way back up, 1,001, 1,002. That would be a good way to do that exercise. And then from here, what we can do to make it a little more challenging, just go toes down, knees up, hips nice and high, squeeze through the belly all the way into your spine. Same thing, send those elbows back, get your chest close to the floor, and press right back up. Okay? From here, if you want to make it even more challenging, you can go all the way to the floor, rest your chest on the ground, bring your hands off the ground, and then press, okay, for another level of a push-up. And that's the push-up.
And the last one we're going to finish out with here is as a side plank. So for this one, you'll once again stay down onto the mat. We'll come onto a side lying position here. So you'll stack this arm directly underneath your shoulder. So you want to think about aligning your elbow and your shoulder here. We're trying to create a triangle here underneath our waist. So you can think about pulling your side up towards the ceiling here. And there's a couple modifications you can make for this one. So you can take a bend in those knees, coming into our side lying position. Our shoulder, elbow, hips, and knees are all going to be in a line through this side plank. And you can hold here, thinking about pulling that waist up towards the ceiling. If you want to check your alignment, you can draw your top arm up towards the ceiling. Think about lengthening through our fingertips here. If we're twisting too much one side to the other, you can see that your hand will kind of drift that way or the other. So we just want to make sure that we're holding this alignment. The other option here is to come into an extended plank position here. And so you can stagger your feet here, lifting those hips up off the ground. and holding that side plank, pulling our waist up towards the ceiling this direction. And that's going to be the side plank.
Whew. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our second workout, the total body strength workout. So between both of those, the hips and core and the full body, you should be able to kind of mobilize the hips, lower spine, give your body some strength training exercises to also sort of help out the amount of running that you're going to be doing. It's really easy to work on asymmetries when we're running in the same direction all the time, so we want to make sure that our hips and arms and everything is also getting a good workout to make sure we minimize injuries. So those are 2 workouts.